Hello and welcome back to section 2 of this AWS course. The objective of this section is to get a public website up and running in stages. The first couple of lessons showed how to create and destroy an S03 bucket using the CDK. In this lesson, we'll put a CloudFront distribution in front of the bucket so that whatever's in the bucket is presented as a public website. And then in the next lesson, we'll actually put something in the bucket, but step by step. So in this lesson, let's just create the CloudFront distribution, which is simple enough. So this is our stack so far, and just to remind you, this is where we actually create the bucket. So I'm going to upgrade this code. Let me just put that terminal away for a moment. And here's the bucket being created again, but this time I assign it to a variable. And then we have this new function call here, which actually creates the CloudFront distribution. And it refers to the bucket. So the distribution is the public interface onto the bucket. So the public can't actually see the bucket. All they can see is CloudFront, and that will go off and get the web pages from the bucket as they're requested. And the default web page is going to be index.html. So let's go ahead and run this, and this should create our distribution. So I'll just say CDK deploy again, and this time it'll notice that there have been changes to the stack, and it'll set about migrating the changes. In other words, it'll leave the bucket in place and create the new CloudFront distribution. So while this is running, we can actually watch it running. If we go off to the console home, and then we go to CloudFormation, we can see that this stack is being updated as we watch. So if I click on go to events, you can see over here is a very nice view of what's going on. It's showing the exact time that each of these components was built. And we can see that these three items have got a green line at the end of them. So that means they're complete. And it's currently working on this, which is creating the actual CloudFront distribution. And this does update every 30 seconds or so. So I could just sit here watching it, and eventually we'd see a green line appear on here, and maybe some other bits and pieces as well. And eventually it will say it's complete. But for now, what I'll do is I'll just put this away, and I'll come back here, and I will pause the video, and I'll come back to it when it's finished. Okay, so that's now completed, and it's generated our CloudFront distribution, and we can see here is the URL, so I can visit it. And I wouldn't hope for too much because there's nothing in the bucket, so we're getting some error messages, but it is there. And let's have a quick look at what's actually been going on. So it's quite confusing. There's CloudFormation and there's CloudFront. So just to remind you, CloudFormation is the CDK, and this was running a CDK program that deployed everything. And then there's CloudFront, which is the website service from AWS, and CloudFront will essentially take a bucket with a website in it and present it to the world, given a domain name. So as we can see, here is the distribution. It's got some sort of ID code, and it's chosen this sort of random domain name, which is where we can actually find our website. So just so you can see, this is exactly the same as the URL we saw when it was deploying. Okay, and if we go inside here, we can see that if we go to origins, that its origin is this CloudFront website bucket, which is the bucket we deployed in the previous lesson. Okay, so we're halfway there. We've got a website up and running. We just need to put some data in the bucket to see something sensible. So that's what we'll do in the next lesson.